POV. It's 2014 and DC announces their 5-year plan for their upcoming movies. And what's this? There's a Flash movie set to release in 2018? Gee golly, I can't wait! You see, The Flash is my favorite superhero, and 14-year-old me really wanted to watch a Flash movie. 4 years was a long time to wait, but I knew that no matter what, I was going to be in that theater when it released, and I was going to have a blast. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. There were a lot of issues with the production, the movie got reshot and ended up being delayed a bunch of times, 2018 became 2020, 2020 became 2021, and so on and so forth. My hype for the movie was dying, and by the time the trailer started to pop up, I was not excited. It seemed like they were gonna stuff the movie with a bunch of cameos and references that would overshadow The Flash. You know, the main character of the movie. I refused to believe this movie could end up actually being good. My friend thought I was being a grouch, but in actuality, I was being cautious. I knew the movie had very high chances of being bad, so I tried to lower my expectations as much as I could. I was hoping it would be at least decent, which isn't really a high bar. And if it somehow ended up being good, then all the better. It would have been even more surprising and exciting. So it's 2023 and the movie releases in the middle of my exams, but I managed to make some time to go watch it. I ended up going to the theater on my own because none of my friends wanted to watch it. So I just kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Well, that could have been worse, I guess. Alright, so first of all, the CGI in this movie is a hot load of bantha poodoo. I was legit shocked by how bad the CGI was. My jaw dropped. This was the thing that managed to surprise me the most of the entire movie. And trust me, I'm not one to typically complain about bad CGI. I have a confession to make. You know the Superman CGI mustache meme from Justice League? I never noticed that. If people didn't point that out, I probably wouldn't know to this day. I think people were just looking for excuses to make fun of that movie. The CGI in The Flash wouldn't even be that much of a problem if they didn't use it so much. Like seriously, there's so much CGI in this movie. For no reason too. Like the time travel sequences, I hated how that looked. And don't even get me started on the monster flying baby scene. I was enjoying the movie's opening scene just fine until the baby moment came up. Whatever, let's move on. I didn't really enjoy the story either. I thought it was very fast-paced, I'm not even gonna make a joke here, and things just kind of happened. Like, Batman refuses to help the Barrys, but then quickly changes his mind, and then Supergirl does the same, and it doesn't really happen naturally. It's just so that we can get from point A to point B. The jokes I was mostly fine with. Some of them I found unfunny, but others did manage to make me laugh. But the main thing I wanted out of the movie was for it to do Barry Allen justice, and while he wasn't perfect, I liked him quite a bit. I like Ezra Miller's performance as Barry Allen, even though he might not be exactly what I want from the character. And in this movie he gets fleshed out a tad more, so I was mostly pleased with the characterization he was given. That being said though, I'm a bit split on his alternative timeline version, which I'm going to call Barry 2 for the rest of the video to avoid confusion. So yeah, Barry 2 is kind of a doofus who says dick a lot for some reason. And while he wasn't horrible, I think he could have been better. Like, I get that he's supposed to be an alternative version of the character, but I don't think that justifies how impulsive he is. DCU movies made Barry seem like a clown, and while that's fun in its own right, I never saw Barry as straightforward, reckless, or impulsive, even the Ezra Miller version. This movie showcases a more analytical side of Barry through Barry 1, which I enjoyed a lot, but then you have Barry 2, who is straight up a Looney Tunes character. I will say though, I really like the idea of Barry teaming up with an 18-year-old version of himself and acting as his mentor. However, I don't think it was executed as well as it should have been. The scene where Barry 1 has to convince Barry 2 that he can't solve every problem towards the end of the movie could have been a really cool scene, because Barry 1 not only has to confront Barry 2 at that scene, but also himself. In the beginning of the movie, Barry 1 thought that he could fix everything if he just went back, and that is the scene where he comes to terms with the fact that he can't. But I think that scene was ruined by the existence of Barry 3. I don't think a future evil version of Barry 2 was necessary to include in the movie. If we could just have a scene where Barry 2 has to take Barry 1's word and accept that he needs to let his mom die, it would have been more powerful. Their dynamic is overall pretty good, but I think it needed a bit more focus. In fact, I think everything in the movie needed a bit more focus. I'm glad Batman and Supergirl didn't overshadow The Flash, but they also kinda seem to be just along for the ride. They both have scenes that give their inclusion in the movie some justification, but to me, it was not enough. Zod was also severely underused, he barely felt like a threat at all. But I want to end this video on a more positive note, so here are some things I liked. First off, Nicolas Cage Superman. I don't have to say anything else. It's Nicolas Cage Superman. That will never not be awesome. I also like the scene where Hobo Bruce Wayne explains the timeline by using spaghetti as an allegory. It's a little silly, but it gets the point across quite effectively, which I appreciated because a lot of time travel movies don't explain their time travel rules to the audience very well, and then you're just left kind of feeling confused for the entire movie. Alright, here are my top 3 favorite scenes from the movie. Number 3, The scene where Barry 1 coaches Barry 2 in the final battle. Seeing them fight together was pretty cool, not gonna lie. Like, that thing they do in the trailer where their boots touch, that's so cool, that's sweet. Number 2, the scene where Barry 1 talks to his mom in the store and has to accept that she will die. I thought that scene was very well acted and very touching. And my favorite scene from the entire movie was the scene where Barry 1 loses his temper and yells at Barry 2 in the Batcave. I found that to be very emotional, and I think it did a good job at showcasing how much trauma Barry holds inside of him, as well as resentment towards himself. If the movie had just a bit more of that, then I think I would have liked it a lot more. So yeah, that was The Flash. I think there's a good story at this movie's core, but overall, I can't say I enjoyed it all that much. I mentioned how I tried to keep my expectations low, but I ended up liking it less than I expected. I shouldn't feel that disappointed because it's just a movie, but movies are kind of an integral part of the superhero genre at this point. A good superhero movie doesn't just entertain an audience, it uses timeless stories to elevate a beloved character's depth and complexity. It puts those characters inside narratives that have a definitive beginning and ending, and it makes them more accessible so that they can be enjoyed by children and adults alike. I'd normally hope for a reboot, but James Gunn seems to have zero plans for The Flash in the horizon. And with the failure of this movie and the CW show, I wouldn't be surprised if the next big Flash project focused on Wally rather than Barry. Which I'm all for since Wally needs more love as well, but Barry is the one that is my favorite superhero. I've empathized with him from a young age, and as cringy as it may sound, he's been a big inspiration to me. I'm being dramatic, but I'm just disappointed one of my favorite characters may not be able to get the cinematic treatment that he deserves. But I guess I can find some comfort in the fact that The Flash's big screen debut wasn't in this movie. It was as a cameo, in an actually good movie. And no, I don't mean this piece of garbage. Maybe I should make a video about that movie eventually. But for now, I gotta go. Bye.